It's Saturday, March 16th, 2024. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe. Hit that bell notification down below so that you are alerted when the newest videos come out. Also, if you want to support the channel, make sure to come over to my Patreon. I've turned the Patreon back on, so I'll put the link down below if you're interested in checking that out. We'll be talking about some things over there that we really can't talk about here. So if you want to support the channel and you want to follow that, go to the link down below and support the Patreon. I want to get right into it today. I want to start, we talked about this a few months ago, this movie, Civil War. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting movie. It's going to come out in April, and they just did a screening in Austin, Texas at the Southwest Film and TV Festival on Thursday night. And I think it's interesting timing that a movie like this is coming out. But I was reading some of the reviews of the film, and honestly, I have not seen a movie, except for that one movie last year regarding the trafficking issue. But other than that, I haven't seen a movie in 20 years. Now, I will probably see this movie, and I was reading some of the reviews of this movie, and comment down below. Are you going to see this movie? They're saying that, you know, there's really no politicalization of this film, that basically it's giving you the ability to come to your own conclusion. But it says here that the film imagines a near-future dystopia where the U.S. has been torn apart under authoritarian rule of a three-term president. And I think it's very interesting that a film like this is coming out at a time like this. But here's some of the reactions. Here's one. It's unlike anything I've ever watched. It's a big, vicious, action-packed war movie, flawless cinematography, and gripping from the start to finish. Here's another one. It's phenomenal. The production value is through the roof. Here's another one. Civil War is a masterpiece. My heart was constantly racing and my jaw was on the floor. Another one. I'm speechless. A horrific tale. A journalism tale and an American tale. Another one. An absolutely effing masterpiece. Scary as hell. Another one, I'm speechless. Civil War is not only the best movie of the year, but the most important. Interesting. Again, why is this movie coming out now? Is there more to it? Is this a premonition? I have no idea. But 40% of Americans believe that a Civil War or some Civil War type event is likely in the next 10 years. I do believe that this movie, I haven't seen it, and you know, hopefully it isn't really political and it allows us to think for ourselves, but I think it is going to make people think for themselves, and I think it's going to allow people to maybe ask themselves some questions, and maybe even this movie will prepare people, because people are going to see something visually. It's going to captivate them, and they're going to wonder, is this possible? And then maybe they start putting two and two together and see that some of these events in this movie are actually happening right now. So again, haven't seen a movie in a very, very long time. In April, I probably will see this movie. And, you know, I'll give you my opinion of it when I see it. Some of you may see it before me. If you do, please give us your opinion of it. But why now? Why now? It's interesting that it's coming out now. What timing? What timing? And what do you think? Are we really close? Could we see a Civil War within the next 10 years or the next 10 months? How close are we? I think we're really, really close. And it's unfortunate. So much division in this country, so much happening. And unfortunately, most people are asleep and not prepared. Here's one from The Hedge today. Haitian migrant boat with guns, drugs, and night vision intercepted off Florida as Caribbean crisis spreads. Now, this happened the other day, and they caught 25 of the newcomers. I like using that word because I like to be a little facetious. I just love that that's the word they're using now. The newcomers with guns and drugs and night vision, unbelievable. But I was watching some of the video, and the so-called newcomers were on a $1 million boat, $1 million sport fishing boat. Had four engines, four outboard Mercuries. And a boat like this is over $1 million. This was a very, very nice boat. And my question is, who gave them the boat? Who's financing this? But I mean, very interesting, isn't it? So now Florida will have its hands full, like Texas, and the games just continue to go on. Here's another one from The Hedge today. Illegal immigrants leave U.S. hospitals with billions in unpaid bills. It says tens of thousands of newcomers are flooding into U.S. hospitals, leaving billions in uncompensated health care costs in their wake. In January, we reported on this a month ago. In January, CEO of Denver Health, Donna Lynn, told reporters 8,000 newcomers made roughly 20,000 visits to the city's health system in 2021. Cost $140 million. Do you want to know why your health care is going through the roof? Do you want to know why hospitals across America, especially in rural areas, are closing? Because when you leave millions of dollars of debt at a hospital that nobody's going to pay back, they go out of business. And we're talking billions of dollars of unpaid bills. So again, hospitals go out of business. Your service at those hospitals, your wait to get care is going to be longer. Service plunges and insurance soars, ladies and gentlemen, and hospitals close. And we're just way worse off allowing this to happen because the American people are now losing their hospitals. And if you've ever had to go to the emergency room, you can see how long the lines are. I've talked to people over the last year that had to go there. It's an all-day event. If you go to the emergency room, it's an all-day event. Plan to be there for 8 to 10 hours for somebody, until somebody sees you. I mean, this is the United States of America, a so-called first world nation, where it takes you 8 to 10 hours at the emergency room to get somebody to look at you. This is really getting scary. And speaking of scary, I watched a very disturbing video this morning. And in this article, it's titled, "Another Disturbing Bullying Incident Sees at Least 2 Boys Beat Up Smaller Student in Corridor of Minneapolis School." Friday, Eagle Ridge Middle School in Savage, what a nice name, Savage, Minnesota, where you will be savaged. I watched this video. Young kid is accosted by 2 older, maybe not much older, just bigger. I can't say that they were older, pretty close to probably his age, but bigger. And they pushed him against the lockers, and they just started assaulting him. While, of course, nobody does anything, they just sit there and film it. And, reading this article, watching the video, it's so disturbing what's happening in our schools today. And you have to realize when you send your kids to school now, basically nobody's looking after them. There is no security. They're on their own. And this is why I think it's so important, if you have kids, to prepare them for real life, prepare them for battle. Somebody wrote me the other day, and I want to respond to this, and they said that the other day that I called parents a failure if their kids are not training in jiu-jitsu or boxing or Muay Thai or any defensive combative training. And I never said that any parent is a failure if they don't have their kids in one of these type of arts. But realize and understand this to the person that wrote this, that, I would think that if you're a parent, you want your kids to get the best education possible. If you're a parent, you want your kids to, eat 3 square meals a day. You want your kids to respect the law, obey the law, be a productive citizen, to respect the rules and laws of America, to have responsibilities, again, get a good education. But why would you not want to give your kids the skill sets that when they leave the house, whether they go down the street to a park, they're at the mall, or they're at school, that they can take care of themselves, they can fend for themselves, they can protect themselves, and they're not going to be a statistic or a victim? Why wouldn't you want to set your kids up to succeed and be victorious and be able to protect themselves and win in any part of life? Why would you not want your kids to have the skill sets to be able to protect themselves and not be bullied and not be beaten up on a daily basis? Why would you not want to set your kids up to win? Why would you not want your kids to have every advantage possible when they leave the house? Why would you not want your kids to have all the odds in their favor when they leave the front door and go out? And especially when they're at school for 8 hours a day where nobody's going to help them. Why would you not want to set your kids up to win and not be victims? I don't understand that. But again, nobody's a failure. I'm just saying that I advise that if you have kids, that they have some basic training, because you don't want them to fall victim to this. And we saw the other girl last week who now has brain damage. She was beaten up by the much larger girl who was slamming her head into the concrete. 6 months of jiu-jitsu, she might have avoided that in all reality. Her parents aren't bad people. But remember, to all of you, to your kids, everybody resorts back to their training. And if you have no training, you resort back to nothing. So give your kids the advantage, put the odds in their favor. Give them, an insurance policy that they know how to protect themselves. And all of you, too, if you're able-bodied, all of us should be training, getting in better shape, and having skills. It's one thing to throw kettlebells around, but it's another thing to be able to know how to protect yourself and your family and having good combative skills. I will never, ever stop preaching that. I think it's extremely important, more now than ever. I think too many people think that, when their kids go to school, it was like when they went to school, maybe back in the 80s or the 90s, whenever they went to school. It's not like that, ladies and gentlemen. It is much more different. It is much more violent. So I say set your kids up to win and not be victims. Here's another one today from the Daily Mail. And pardon me, but Nugget is now taking a power nap over here, so if you hear anything, I apologize. Daily Mail, San Francisco man who stabbed Asian woman who was 94 years old multiple times gets probation after soft touch judge was told he'd suffered trauma and cried on being told what he'd done. Why are these people on the streets of America? I have no idea. Daniel Kovich stabbed a 94-year-old woman in the street in broad daylight back in June 2021. He got 5 years probation and a supervisor program. Luckily, the woman is doing okay. She recovered. She's fine, but I think she weighed probably 75 pounds, 80 pounds. And of course, they said that this guy had mental trauma, all kind of issues. Again, why is he on the streets? Why is he roaming the streets? And guess what? Now he's back on the streets again. And of course, if he has a bad day, he could do this again. I hope everyone is taking all of this very, very seriously. From these newcomers from Haiti who are coming over on boats with night vision and guns and drugs, to what's happening right here, south of where I'm making this video, an hour and a half. People are coming right over from God knows where, for God knows whatever reason. Probably some people with some very bad intentions, who don't really like us, and it is just a matter of time before the fireworks begin, no doubt about it. So, I'm just sitting here today and just reading some of the news, and and it's absolutely appalling what is happening in the school system, the violence on the streets of America. Some of the people that are here right now from multiple countries with some very, very bad intentions, and they're already telling you, they're already warning you. The FBI, Christopher Wray, already telling you we've got red flags, red alert, ladies and gentlemen. And people just watch their baseball games and they'll watch their basketball games, and they'll just it'll never happen to me, right? We have never been so fragile as a nation. The cyber attacks every day. I mean, think about who is in this country right now, and then think about the major cyber attacks. McDonald's just went down, of all places, a global shutdown with McDonald's. But what's next? What's going to happen next? Nobody really knows, but it's not going to be good. It's not a matter anymore of if, it is now a matter of when. And you have to ask yourself, how are you preparing? How are you preparing in case these things happen? And when they do happen, maybe it doesn't happen in your area, but maybe you're one of the unlucky ones that it happens in your area. I just think as a nation, we are so unprepared. I watch, when we have an event, be 200 police officers, at one of these events. And I'm thinking, what's going to happen when we have real serious actors here? And it's not just one, it's not two, it's not five, maybe it's 20. Maybe it's 30, maybe it's 50, maybe it's 100 across the country. Think about it. We can't even, shoot a balloon out of the sky that floats around in our country for a week. We got balloons flying around. We got people walking around. It's just complete lawlessness in society now, and you're going to be left on your own. And I think that as I leave you today, you've got to start thinking about what you can do right now to secure your homes, secure your families, make sure that you have enough food and water, enough training, be as proficient as possible. But what can you be doing right now to be bettering yourself? What can people in your family members be doing to be bettering themselves too? We have an obesity epidemic, a crisis, a health crisis literally in this country right now. And I just think that when the medicines stop flowing to America, when the power gets shut down, when food gets shut down, when people's cell phones get shut down, they are going to be absolutely out of their minds. So it'll be interesting to see this movie Civil War, but I think it's going to be much worse than this movie because people could not last a day without their TikTok, without their cell phones, or without fast food. And you're going to be dealing with this mess. And the question is, are you going to be able to deal with it? Can you deal with it? Do you have the skills? Do you have the mental mindset right now to deal with it? It's going to be tough. There's no doubt about it. We're going to find out if people can deal with it, who can and who can't. But it's going to be a very ugly period in U.S. history. I can guarantee you that. But everything that is happening, it's just complete insanity that is taking place on the streets of America. And we have so much crime here already, and now we're importing it from all over the world. And now we have even more crime, and some of it very organized. So be careful out there. Keep preparing, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to sit here and rant all day, but when you watch some of these videos of the Coast Guard arresting people on this boat, and what were their intentions, and what's happening in the schools, and kids that aren't looking for trouble, and it's usually the smaller kids. And if you have smaller kids, you really should have your kids learning jiu-jitsu or being in boxing or Muay Thai, because they're going to be picked out, right? I mean, they're the ones they're looking for. They typically don't want to start fights with people who they know are going to fight back. They usually look for weaker kids. So I think one of the best things you could do is get your kids in training, build up their confidence, build up those muscles, build up that endurance. And those kids aren't going to be victims. They're not going to be bullied. I think that is one of the best gifts any parent could do, is to give their kids skills to survive in life. and not allow them to be bullies. And I'm going to leave it there. It's just absolutely shocking what's happening in this country. And again, as I leave you, when I see stuff like this, people filming it, people entertained by somebody being beaten and assaulted, I just think, how bad is it going to be when the lights go out? How bad will it be when food really becomes more difficult to get, or it gets so expensive that many people just can't buy it, or their government subsidies just don't go as far as they once did, and we have even more food insecurity. And when people's kids are really, really hungry, what's going to happen when that day comes? Because if people can assault and beat other people for entertainment right now, what happens when they get hungry? What happens when they really get mad? What are they going to do? What are they capable of doing? Question is, are you capable enough to protect you and your family? God bless. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Be preparing.